I think traditional ecological knowledge should flow from generation to generation for it to be maintained. That means it has to be intergenerationally transferred, which actually implies that there was knowledge and there is still knowledge in local communities, and this knowledge, this traditional ecological knowledge, is being eroded due to many forces. Now we have reached at a point in Africa where lateral communication between people, between elders and between local community members is very much challenged. Also intergenerational transfer of traditional ecological knowledge is also challenged. Intergenerational transfer of traditional ecological knowledge is challenged by globalization, by the spread of cities, by urbanization, by industrialization, industrial agriculture, those things, and education, formal education. Formal education is important, but once children go to school and they learn Western way of thinking, Western way of knowledge, they think that this form of knowledge is far much bigger or better than their knowledge, the knowledge of the local community. So how do we keep the flow of information on traditional ecological knowledge between the two generations? Well, we have practical examples in Africa how we do it. What we do is we have a program called Sanyi, where we take children into the forest. They stay in the forest with elders. So elders, they walk in the forest. They have a trail program. So when they walk, elders explain to them about the value of each of the plants and how culturally they understand these plants and their cultural importance. So they learn from that. And also in the evening, around campfire, they tell them stories. They tell them proverbs. And these stories and proverbs are discussed or analyzed for their content. So in that way we do that. And when they go back to their school and in the youth groups, they keep on interacting with the local community. They collect traditional medicines, seeds, and also animal parts, and also artifacts, and they learn also the songs of the community. In the songs, in the proverbs, in the stories of origin, are this knowledge. So it's very much important to target schools, because schools are agents of the erosion of traditional ecological knowledge. That's one thing that we understand. So we have this program to do that. And also in local communities, we can use mapping. We do participatory mapping, for example, where we ask communities to map the past. How does their landscape look like 40 years ago? Because the knowledge of the local community is related with the landscape. When the landscape is eroded, their knowledge is eroded. And sometimes when their knowledge is eroded, the landscape would be eroded also, because the know-how of how to manage the landscape also will disappear. So with this map of the past, that would help them to revive the traditional ecological knowledge of that area. And in that mapping process, elders will come together, and also youth will be there also. So they do map of the past, and they do map of the future, map of the present. They compare map of the past and map of the future, and they will understand what they have lost. In our experience, they have lost name of the rivers, they have lost name of the lakes, they have lost the relationship. If we talk about ecology, we talk about relationship. So the relationship between the rivers and their farms and the mountains and the people is lost. So this mapping exercise would help them to revive this knowledge. So in that way, local communities would interact amongst themselves, and it would enhance the knowledge and also maintain what's already there. There are different methodologies that we use.